Welcome back to the Shigeki Podcast, where science meets longevity. I'm Dr. Mark Hyman, and I'm here with the legendary Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara. Today we're diving into a surprising topic that most people, even the health-conscious ones, rarely question. Let me start with a real story. One of my patients, a 68-year-old woman, came to see me because she had started experiencing stomach discomfort, mild insomnia, and unusual muscle cramps. When I reviewed her supplements, she proudly said, "I take vitamin D3 every morning, K2 for my bones, and magnesium glycinate to help me sleep. Sounds like a great plan, right? But here's the issue: she was taking all three at once in one gulp after breakfast. And that's where the problems began. You see, many people assume that the more nutrients they take together, the better. But the reality is you might be combining them in a way that reduces their effects, causes poor absorption, or even leads to side effects. So, today we want to clear the confusion. If you're taking magnesium glycinate, vitamin D3, and vitamin K2 together, or thinking about starting, this episode is especially for you.
That's right. After the age of 60, your body's metabolism slows down, including how you absorb, convert, and utilize vitamins and minerals. This means timing, dosage, and sequence matter more than ever. These are not bad supplements. In fact, they can be life-changing if used properly. But when taken at the wrong time or in the wrong combination, they can cancel each other out, or worse, create biological stress that makes you feel more tired, more bloated, and less stable. Think of your supplements like instruments in an orchestra. They each have a sound, a role, a time to shine. If they all play at once without rhythm or coordination, it becomes noise, not harmony.
In this episode, we'll explain something: why D3, K2, and magnesium don't belong in the same pill time, what happens inside your body when they're absorbed, and most importantly, how to separate them out smartly so each one works for you, not against you. If you or someone in your family is already taking supplements for bones, sleep, or energy, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this episode. Sometimes a tiny adjustment in your routine can unlock massive health improvements.
All right, now that we've covered the big picture, let's go deeper into the biology behind three of the most common supplements people over 60 are taking today: vitamin D3, vitamin K2, and magnesium glycinate. At first glance, these three seem like the perfect team. D3 helps your body absorb calcium. K2 directs that calcium into your bones and away from your arteries, and magnesium helps relax your muscles and supports hundreds of biochemical reactions. But here's the catch. Even good teammates can get in each other's way if they're not coordinated properly, so let's break it down.
Especially after 60. Let's get into it. Vitamin D3 is fat-soluble and plays a critical role in calcium metabolism. When you take D3, your intestines begin absorbing more calcium from your food or supplements. That's a great thing, but only the first step. Because if that calcium stays in your bloodstream, it can eventually settle in the wrong places like soft tissue or blood vessels. That's where vitamin K2 comes in. Think of K2 as the traffic director. Its job is to guide calcium into the bones and teeth, where it strengthens structure, and away from arteries, where it could increase plaque risk. Now, enter magnesium glycinate, often overlooked but quietly essential. Magnesium is a cofactor. It helps activate the enzymes responsible for converting inactive vitamin D into its active form, calcitriol. Without enough magnesium, your D3 can just sit there unprocessed and less effective.
Exactly. So on paper, these three nutrients support one another like a relay race. D3 hands off to K2, and both rely on magnesium to keep the race moving. And this is the key: if you take all three together, you're asking your digestive system to manage too many complex nutrient transactions at once. And that's where trouble begins. Let's look at what happens inside your body when these are swallowed together. First, in the small intestine, D3, K2, both fat-soluble, and magnesium, a mineral, require different absorption conditions. D3 and K2 need dietary fat and bile acids. Magnesium needs a specific pH range to be absorbed effectively. Throw them all in at once, especially with a random meal, or an empty stomach, and they start competing for absorption. Your body can't prioritize all of them equally. Some of the D3 may pass through unconverted. K2 might be underutilized. Magnesium might be only partially absorbed, leading to what I call nutrient overeating, a kind of biological overload that leaves your cells confused, not nourished.
And it's not just poor absorption. The timing matters too. Many people take their supplements right before bed, but D3 can stimulate serotonin production in the brain and convert to melatonin. Later, that sounds good. But insensitive people taking D3 too close to bedtime may interfere with sleep quality instead of helping it. Magnesium, on the other hand, is calming and helps relax muscles and the nervous system. That makes it a great nighttime supplement. But again, if it's competing with fat-soluble vitamins for absorption, its calming effects may be muted. K2 is neutral in terms of stimulation, but it needs fat to be absorbed properly, so taking it on an empty stomach late at night or without dietary fat wastes its potential. So, what does this look like in real life?
I know some people feel bloated or slightly nauseous after combining all three, especially if taken without a substantial meal. Others may feel wired at night and not understand why their sleep has worsened. And some experience leg cramps even while taking magnesium, often due to impaired absorption or poor pairing. So what's the solution for people?
Don't worry, we're not saying you have to stop taking these supplements. Quite the opposite. We want you to keep using them, but in a way that's smart, respectful of your body's biology, and timed for maximum synergy. In the next section, we'll walk you through the perfect daily schedule to split these up, depending on your goals, whether that's better bones, deeper sleep, or more energy during the day. But for now, just remember this. You can't just mix everything and hope for the best. The older we get, the more precision matters. Your digestion slows, your metabolism becomes more sensitive, and your cells rely on order and rhythm, not chaos. Let's move on to the smart routine next, so you can actually feel the benefits of what you're taking.
Now that we understand the science behind vitamin D3, K2, and magnesium glycinate, let's talk about what really matters day to day, when and how to take them so they actually work and don't interfere with each other. Let's start with the morning, and that means vitamin D3. This is the one most people get wrong, not because they forget to take it, but because they take it at the wrong time or with the wrong foods. D3 is fat-soluble, meaning it needs dietary fat to be absorbed properly. So if you pop your D3 pill on an empty stomach or just with a glass of water, you're wasting most of it. Instead, the best time to take D3 is right after a breakfast that includes healthy fat like eggs, avocado, olive oil, or nut butter. This helps emulsify the vitamin, allowing your body to absorb it into the lymphatic system and then into your bloodstream.
And it's not just about absorption. It's also about your natural circadian rhythm. Vitamin D3 plays a role in regulating melatonin, the sleep hormone, but if you take it too late in the day, it may confuse your internal clock. That's why morning is ideal. It aligns with your body's natural light exposure and keeps your sleep cycle intact. It gives you an energy lift during the day without making you too alert at night. One more thing is, don't take D3 with magnesium. Even though magnesium helps activate vitamin D, taking them at the same time can actually reduce magnesium's bioavailability and cause subtle digestive discomfort in some people. Let me give you a concrete reference. A 2021 study in JAMA tracked older adults supplementing with D3 with and without magnesium. The group who took D3 in the morning with food and magnesium later in the day saw a 20% higher absorption rate and also reported better daytime focus and nighttime sleep.
So if you're currently taking your D3 alongside everything else in a multivitamin pack or before bed, you're missing out on most of the benefit. Here's your action step. Tomorrow morning, after you've had your eggs or a small smoothie with almond butter, take your D3 on its own. Just one change. No magnesium, no K2 yet. We'll get to those in the next segments. Remember, with supplements, timing is not a small thing. It's everything. A great nutrient at the wrong time is still a missed opportunity. Next up, when and how to take vitamin K2. Let's keep building this routine the right way.
All right, so you've taken your D3 in the morning, good start. But now let's talk about something just as important, vitamin K2. And this one really needs the spotlight, especially if you're over 60 and concerned about your bones, your arteries, or both. K2 is often misunderstood, or worse, completely ignored. People think, well, I'm taking D3, so I'm covered. But that's only half the story. Think of vitamin D3 as the delivery truck. It loads calcium into the bloodstream. But K2 is the traffic controller. It tells the calcium exactly where to go, ideally into your bones and teeth, not your arteries or kidneys.
Exactly. And here's the catch most people don't know. K2 works best when D3 is already present in your bloodstream, meaning it's been absorbed earlier in the day. So if you've taken your D3 at breakfast, the best time for K2 is around lunch or early afternoon. Timing matters. When you take both D3 and K2 together, it may sound efficient, but the body actually processes them differently. D3 uses one set of enzymes. K2 uses another. When taken at the same time, they can compete, and that means you might not get the full benefit from either.
There was a great study published in Nutrients in 2020. It showed that separating D3 and K2 by just 6 to 8 hours resulted in a 35% greater improvement in bone density compared to people who took them together. That's not a small difference, that's a game changer if you're trying to reverse bone loss or prevent fractures. And the good news? You don't need to complicate your schedule. Just take your K2 with lunch. If you're having a protein-rich meal like chicken, fish, or even a plant-based meal with tofu or beans, even better. K2 pairs well with protein and helps support calcium-binding proteins in the blood.
Also remember, K2 is a fat-soluble vitamin, so just like D3, it needs some dietary fat to be absorbed well. A salad with olive oil, some avocado nuts, or even a spoon of nut butter. Those small additions make a huge difference in absorption. And don't worry if you're already taking a D3-K2 combo capsule. Just split the dose. Take half the combo in the morning and the other half later in the day. Or even better, switch to separate supplements so you can control the timing precisely.
Remember, the goal isn't to just take more supplements. It's to use what you take smarter, with respect to how your body actually absorbs and uses these nutrients. After 60, it's not just what you take, it's when, how, and what you pair it with. And K2 is one of those quiet heroes. It doesn't make headlines, but it protects your bones and arteries like nothing else. So, go enjoy your lunch and let your K2 work in harmony with the D3 you took earlier. Small adjustments like this can lead to big improvements in your long-term health.
So now that you've had your D3 in the morning, your K2 at lunch, let's move to the final part of your supplement routine, and honestly, this might be the most soothing one: magnesium glycinate in the evening. Yes, magnesium, but not just any magnesium. Magnesium glycinate is the form we recommend most often for people over 60, and there's a good reason for that. It's gentle on the stomach, highly bioavailable, and it has a natural calming effect on both your muscles and your nervous system.
Exactly. We see a lot of patients who struggle with sleep, not necessarily insomnia, but poor quality sleep. They wake up tired or they toss and turn. And often it's not that they need sleeping pills, it's that their magnesium levels are too low to support deep rest. And the timing makes a big difference. If you take magnesium glycinate about an hour after dinner or 30 minutes before bed, it gives your body time to digest dinner while also setting the stage for relaxation. It works beautifully with your natural circadian rhythm.
There was a study published in Clinical Sleep Medicine that I found fascinating. It showed that older adults who supplemented with magnesium glycinate experienced a noticeable increase in deep sleep stages, especially the slow-wave sleep that's critical for cellular repair and memory consolidation. That's the kind of sleep that makes you feel refreshed in the morning. But here's something many people miss. Magnesium doesn't play well with everyone. If you take it too close to calcium, iron, or even tea, it can interfere with absorption both ways. So if you're having dairy or a multivitamin with iron in the evening space, them at least 1 to 2 hours apart.
Right. And don't pair it with green or black tea at night. The tannins in tea can actually bind to minerals like magnesium and reduce their effectiveness. If you like a warm drink before bed, go for something like warm water or a caffeine-free herbal infusion. And a quick word on dosage. Most people do well with 200 to 300 millimole of magnesium glycinate at night, but always start low and increase slowly. Everyone's sensitivity is different, and with magnesium, more isn't always better, especially if your digestion is delicate.
What I love about this final step is how simple and powerful it is. Just one capsule taken with intention can calm your mind, relax your body, and give your cells the signal that it's time to rest and repair. So if you've been struggling with restless sleep leg cramps or just a sense of inner tension before bed, try Magnesium Glycinate, not just as a supplement but as a part of your wind-down ritual. Simple changes, right timing, big impact, that's what we're all about.
Let's talk about what goes wrong. And honestly, this is where most people trip up. You've got your supplements lined up, D3, K2, Magnesium Glycinate. You're excited. You pop them all in one go. With your morning coffee, and by lunchtime your stomach's bloated, your head feels foggy, and you're wondering what went wrong.
Yes, we see this mistake all the time, taking all three at the same time, especially in the morning. It might seem efficient, but your digestive system doesn't thank you for it. You're overloading multiple absorption pathways, especially in older adults, where enzyme activity has already slowed down. That means less of each nutrient is absorbed and more discomfort is experienced. And let's not forget, taking them on an empty stomach can make things worse. Vitamin D3 in particular tends to cause nausea when taken without food, especially if your meal was low in fat. Magnesium glycinate, even though it's gentle, can still lead to mild diarrhea in sensitive individuals when taken alone.
Another critical oversight is combining these supplements with certain medications. For example, if you're on diuretics or heart medications, which many seniors are taking magnesium or vitamin D, without consulting your doctor, can throw off your electrolyte balance. That can lead to leg cramps, irregular heartbeat, or even fatigue. And of course, there's the issue of overdosing. More is not better. We've had patients unknowingly take high doses of D3 every day, sometimes 5,000 or even 10,000 IU, thinking it's harmless. But chronic overuse can raise your blood calcium levels, leading to symptoms like kidney stones, confusion, and even nausea.
Yes, I always remind my patients vitamins are powerful tools, but only when used wisely. Even something as simple as water can become harmful in excess. So when you're using D3, K2, and magnesium stick, 2 safe, moderate doses unless directed otherwise by a healthcare provider. And here's an important note. If you've ever had kidney stones, metabolic issues, or liver disease, don't start these supplements blindly. These conditions can change how your body handles nutrients, especially fat-soluble ones like D3 or minerals like magnesium.
So, before you jump on the supplement train, take a breath. Talk to your doctor, especially if you're managing a chronic illness. Supplements should support your body, not surprise it. And if you've already been taking all three together and haven't felt better, don't worry. Now you know how to space them out, when to take each, and what to watch for. That's already a huge step forward.
Before we wrap up, let me just say this: don't be afraid of supplements. They're powerful tools, but only when used with intention. The truth is, most people think the benefit comes from the ingredients themselves, but really, it's about the timing. D3, K2, and magnesium. They don't just work in isolation. They interact, they compete, and if you stack them all together without a plan, you're not helping your body, you're confusing it.
Exactly. I always remind my patients your body is not a storage box for pills. It's a rhythm. Every system from your bones to your brain works in cycles. And when we respect those natural rhythms, even the simplest nutrients become far more powerful. You don't need more pills. You just need better timing. That small change, taking vitamin D3 with your breakfast K2 with your lunch and magnesium before bed, could make all the difference for your sleep, heart, and bones. And here's what I want you to remember. It's never too late to start small. If you've been taking all your supplements in one go, that's okay. But now you've got the knowledge to tweak things, and those small shifts can lead to big improvements, better absorption, better energy, better sleep.
This isn't about complicating your life. It's about honoring your biology, giving your body what it needs when it's ready to use it best. If you or someone you love is taking a handful of supplements without thinking much about timing, this is the episode to share. Drop us a comment, let us know your routine and what you're changing after today. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next week for something just as practical and powerful.